Church Growth Unleashed, diving into all things leadership and church growth. Provide the help, encouragement, insights that you need along the journey of growing yourself as a leader and your ministry. Welcome back to the Church Growth Unleashed podcast. I am so excited to be back with you here today because we're going to be talking about something that leaders often don't talk about. In fact, I don't think I've ever heard a podcast or a leadership podcast talk about what I'm going to be talking about today. And so you might be thinking, well, what is that? Well, today I want to talk to you about ending your day well. And leaders don't really focus on this. We don't even think we need a discipline or structure around this, but it is massively important. A lot of leaders talk about a strong morning routine, and I'm a huge fan of having a great morning routine. I've read the book Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. I think you should read that. How you start your morning really determines how your day goes. Win the morning, win the day. I'm a huge believer in all that. But what about our evenings? Do you have a strong evening routine? I want to talk about that today because I believe that how we end our days determines how the next day is going to go. Or another way to say it is the quality of tomorrow is determined by how well I end today. And what I've noticed is that a lot of leaders, including myself for years, have just been really sloppy with ending their day well. I mean, we go home, we kick back, we turn the TV on, we eat poorly, we scroll on social media, we waste time, we eat way too late into the evening, we eat poor food. And then we wake up and we wonder why we feel scattered, reactive, emotional, foggy. We don't feel well. It's because we didn't end our day well. And this is a massive area in a leader's life that is, it's really a stewardship. And it's our responsibility to end our days well because how we end our days determines how the next day is going to go. And so today I want to give you a 5-step framework to ending your day well. And really, this podcast is about capturing your energy because your greatest asset as a leader is your energy. It's your focus. It's your attitude, like what you bring to the table to your team every single day, your passion, your focus. And so we're missing out on so much of that because I believe we're really just haphazard and sloppy with our evening routine. And so this is going to increase your capacity as a leader, even if it just increases it by 5 or 10%. That is a huge difference to your team. I think it has the potential to do way more than that. I'm seeing that results in my life. I've become very disciplined and structured around my evening routine as much as I am in my morning routine. So if you don't have a framework for ending your day well, I'm about to give you one. You could take this, make it your own, tweak it, and it'll work for you. So let's get into this. I got 5 steps for you. The first step is really simple. It's the power of the shutdown. And what is the shutdown? Well, the shutdown is basically a clear ending of your day. It's determined ahead of time, like today I am going to stop working. I'm going to leave the office at 5 o'clock, 5:30. That's usually when I leave the office. And it's very clear. It's written down in my planner. I always carry a planner. I use the EOS Life Planner, fantastic planner. I recommend it. And I write it down. It's like, okay, today at 5:30, this is when my day is going to end. So there's a shift here from working to not working, and it's very, very clear. And a lot of leaders don't have this. I was talking with one of my clients the other day, and he said, I don't have the boundary. I just work, and then I take a break to eat, and I continue working on into the evening. And this guy, he had a wife, small kids, and I'm like, man, you need a clear boundary to say, okay, I am going from working to non-working. And so something that helps me to do this is to, before I end my day, I will write down, okay, what were the unfinished tasks that I did not complete, and I'll write them down on the next day so that I don't feel that anxiety about not getting things done. Because let's be honest, as leaders, our job, it's never done. It's not like we finish everything. So we got to get over that. So I just transferred the things I'm working on that I didn't finish to the next day, and that helps me to be okay psychologically with ending the day. And something else that really helps in this area is having a statement of some kind that you say to yourself. It could be something as simple as, okay, I'm stopping my work right now. Just a statement. It could be something like, I'm not going to steal any more time from my kids. Could be that simple if you have small kids. It could be something a little bit more emotional, like someone else is going to be the pastor of this church or the CEO of this business, but no one else is going to be my kid's father. I mean, see, that's pretty emotional. That'll get you going. And so some kind of statement that you say to yourself that motivates you to stop working. I love the statement. I've heard this many, many times. Nobody says on their deathbed, man, I wish I would have worked more, right? Nobody says that. So we have a family, we've got a life, and so you have to have a clear boundary on when to shut down. And so for me, that is around 5 o'clock or 5:30. Number two, step 2, the transition. Now, what is the transition? Well, the transition is basically a ritual that could last 10 minutes, could be up to an hour, where you're doing something with your body or doing something with your mind that tells your body that you're not working anymore. See, it's not enough just to shut down. I think there needs to be a transition from work mode to person mode. The shift here is I'm going from a machine to a person, to a human. And so for me, that transition, I leave the office around 5 o'clock, 5:30. I drive straight to the gym, and I'm not working anymore. I'm working out. I'm on the treadmill. I'm lifting weights, whatever. I'm playing basketball. And that helps me to go from pastor to person. And this is huge because I think a lot of times what happens is we don't have some sort of ritual like that. So we'll just stay in leader mode, and then we'll go home and we'll pastor our wife. I remember so many times my wife has said to me when I got home from church or work, or she'll say, I'm not one of your staff members, and I'm like, oh, shoot. It's because I'm still in that problem solving issue. I'm still in that leadership mode where I start to treat her like she's one of my staff members. I don't do that anymore because I have a clear transition. Like I'm getting out of work mode into human being mode, husband mode, father mode. And so this could be if you don't want to do it, if you work out in the morning or whatever, you could make a phone call to a family member. You can go for a 5-minute walk. Just some type of physical ritual, mental ritual that moves you from leader to person. So number 1 is the shutdown, clear boundary. Number 2 is the transition. Number 3 is the prep. Now, what do I mean by prep? Well, what I mean by prep is some window of time in the evening, 10, 15 minutes tops, where you are, usually for me, this is after dinner. We've eaten dinner, and try to eat a healthy dinner because that impacts step number 5 we're going to talk about here in a second. I take 10, 15 minutes, I get my planner out, I look at the day, I look at my schedule, I look at my meetings, I look at the things I have to accomplish, and I'll jot down the top 3 things that I need to accomplish for tomorrow. And what this does is it moves my brain out of anxiety mode or stress mode or what do I need to do mode or what didn't I get done mode to, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I've written it down, and it takes it off my brain. It takes it off. It releases the pressure because I know that I've made time to work on those things tomorrow. So the shift here is moving from anxiety, stress to peace. And this is a huge step. So, because it allows step number 4, which you're going to get to in a second, to actually happen in your life. So again, it's like 10, 15 minutes where you're just basically giving your brain and your heart space to relax. So number 1 is the shutdown. Number 2 is the transition. And then number 3 is the prep mode. Now you got to be careful in the prep mode that you don't, when you pick up your journal or whatever, your planner, you don't start working. It's like, oh man, I can get some quick things done here without anybody seeing. You got to really, really avoid that. Now, are there times where that needs to happen? Absolutely. You're in a season where you're getting squeezed. That there are always exceptions to that, but I try to shoot for 80% of the time. I'm not working in the evenings because that re-engages my mind, re-engages my heart, and I tend to struggle to sleep well when I work into the evenings.
although that is sometimes required. I usually have one night a week where I am working into the evenings on something, but I try to limit it to one night a week. Okay, that brings us to step number 4, which is the power down. Now, the power down is so critical because this step in the process is really about communicating to your body and your mind that you are getting ready to go to sleep. You are powering down. And so this is critical for step number 5, which you probably figured out is by now is sleep. We'll get to that in a second. But you're powering down and you're communicating that it's time to shift from engaged to not engaged. And so in this step, it's important to have some sort of ritual where you are just doing something fun, relaxing. Maybe you're reading a novel. Maybe you're watching a show. My wife and I like to watch a show. We try to find a decent show on Netflix or Amazon, which is hard to do these days. That's something that's edifying, and we'll watch that, and we'll sit on the couch and we'll just enjoy that together. And we know, like, right after the show, like, we're going upstairs, we're going to go to sleep, and so that lets our bodies know it's time to go to sleep. And so a couple of thoughts here in the power down section that are critical, excuse me, is to stop eating food after about 7 or 8 o'clock. Like that's part of the power down. Like, you've eaten your dinner, no more eating, no more going back to the refrigerator for a snack, no more munching on this, because what that does is, that will, if you eat at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, your body's going to be digesting that food, and digestion takes energy, and that's going to mess your sleep up. So really try to not eat after 7 or 8 o'clock. Also, not drink after 7 or 8 o'clock. I'm talking about liquids of any kind, because as you drink at 10 o'clock at night, water, whatever, you're going to have to get up and go to the bathroom. And if you get up and to go to the bathroom, you're going to mess up your rhythms of sleep, and that's really going to affect your rest for the next day. And so I really try to limit the liquids after 7 or 8 o'clock. Definitely no alcohol, because alcohol in the evening will maybe help you go to sleep, but you will absolutely wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Some of you are like, yeah, tell me about it. This takes discipline, this takes structure, because really what you're doing is you're protecting your night's sleep. We'll get to that in a second. And so no alcohol, definitely no caffeine. I mean, all the data shows right now, caffeine stays in your body about 8 hours. So if you're going to have a cup of coffee in the afternoon, try to make it like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock and then cut it off, because that will absolutely interrupt your sleep in the evening as well. And so really powering down kind of starts around 2 o'clock for me, where I try to limit the caffeine. So another thing we do, and I've done some research on this, is just kind of bring the lights down, maybe play some soft music in the background. All that affects your physiology, and it communicates to your body when the lights go down, like, okay, it's time. Sleep is getting close. So shut down. The shift here, again, is being engaged, from going engaged to unengaged. And then last step, I mentioned this, so important. This is what we're all shooting for right here, is step number 5, sleep. And I believe at this point in my life, I used to not believe this whatsoever as a young person, but sleep is your greatest asset. It is your greatest asset, because sleep is the thing that gives your body and your mind the recovery. I mean, the data shows this beyond a shadow of a doubt. When you sleep, your brain is cleansed, your body is rested. You need 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I mean, this is so critical. I grew up in a generation, maybe some of you did as well. I'd hear people say, "Man, I'll sleep when I'm dead," and I used to adhere to that. Like, just go. I don't need to sleep. Right now my thinking is, yeah, you are going to die because you're not sleeping. But so, sleep is so critical to a leader's life, because if you sleep effectively, what's going to happen is you're going to wake up energized, focused, ready to go. And that is a critical piece to a leader's life. And by the way, it's a critical piece to having a great morning. We talk about having a great morning routine. Well, if you want to have a great morning routine, you have to have a great evening routine. And so recently I've got this Oura ring, which has just been fascinating, because I never really tracked my sleep before. But now I see all the details. And when I first got this ring, I was blown away. I was a terrible sleeper. And really, quite honestly, it's gotten better, but not a whole lot. I've got a long way to go. I think my sleep score is like 75. It's not great. And I looked at the data. I'm like, man, I'm waking up 2-3 times a night. Like, why is this happening? Well, I'm drinking caffeine at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And, I'm drinking water till 10 o'clock at night. Sometimes I'll have a glass of wine with my wife, and that keeps me up. I'm like doing all these things that are messing my sleep up. So it's critical. It's important. And really, it is a stewardship issue. Sleep is like the number one way that we recover energy, we recover focus. And so you want to take this seriously. You want to take this, it's a critical aspect of your leadership. So something else I would say is keep the room super dark. If you can get, blackout curtains, the data shows that if you can keep the room cool, like not hot, like your body, you can sleep better. And definitely no scrolling when you get into bed. Like all that stuff, the light coming off your phone, the dopamine from what you're seeing. I mean, it just triggers the chemicals in your mind, and you can't fall asleep because you're just scrolling and watching this stuff. So, get the phone out of your bed and quit all that stuff. Get it as dark and as cool as possible. So those are my 5 steps to kind of capture the evening well, structure the evening well so that I can wake up focused and energized. I believe this with all my heart. The quality of your next day is determined by the quality of your evening ritual. So if I want to have a great day tomorrow, I'm like, okay, let me be super disciplined with how my evening goes. And like I said, there's always exceptions. You guys know we're leaders. We're always dealing with crisis or things that are happening in the evening. I know those are exceptions. Do those things. You got to do those things. But try to get 80% of your evening structured around this some sort of framework that captures energy, because really that's what we're talking about. And as a leader, your number one job is to steward energy and to be your best every single day. And I know that when I'm not sleeping well and I'm not resting well, I'm not at my best. I'm short-tempered. I'm a little cranky. I'm a little moody. I don't think clearly. And I'm dealing with real problems, serious issues. And so be disciplined with your evenings, and you will see a difference in your leadership. Better nights equal better days, and better days equal better leadership over time. So hope this was an encouragement to you. Don't hear a lot about this idea, but I think it's critical. Hey, real quick before we close, if some of you are interested in one-on-one leadership coaching, I'd love to do that stuff. You can hit me up at my website, PastorDannyAnderson.com. There's a link there for coaching. If you're interested in doing that, we can set up a call, and I'd love to talk to you about that. Until then, we will see you on the next podcast. God bless you guys.